Hello all and welcome to the official FanTeam podcast brought to you by FanTeam, the biggest daily fantasy site in Europe. My name is Andrew and today I'm joined by fantasy football expert and guru Holly Shand. It's great to have you back on, Holly. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've had a few successful weeks on these monsters, so I'm excited to see what this week brings.
And fantastic. And how is your overall fantasy season sort of going?
It's a bit of a mixed bag, but it's certainly been improving in the last few weeks. We've seen those sort of trends that we expect to see throughout the season come to the fore now. So I feel like things have got a bit more predictable. So it's really helped me push up the FPL rankings and on the season long as well.
Has the Aston Villa and Newcastle game being called off on Friday thrown a spanner in your works, or is it not that bad for you?
Well, I've got Watkins and Grealish in quite a few places, so that could be a bit of a struggle, but hopefully my bench will see me through and I can focus my transfers around those Man City assets that look exciting for this week.
Yeah, I've got Martinez and Watkins, so I think I'm going into the season-long games without a keeper, but I think I could put Watkins on the bench, which isn't that bad. Do you think we're going to see a bit more of this now? Because obviously there's even rumours potentially of the West Brom match being called off as well, potentially. Do you think now over this period in December we're going to see a bit more of this? Because it's going to wreak havoc if that's the case from a fantasy view, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping this is just a one-off, but you never know. But hopefully this is just like the backlog from the international break and having so many players out on international duty that's meant that it's really snowballed. And hopefully now that there's one set of Europa League and Champions League fixtures and then everyone's more UK based, hopefully that will see things settle down a little bit. I mean, I've still got a wild card in FPL and I've still got a wild card on a couple of my season long entries, so I've got that safety net if I need it, but I'm just hoping to weather the storm. But it's one of those where this week it's the week where you think, is my bench good enough? And if it's not, then you need to make a few moves to improve it.
Agree. Do you think as well that we're going to expect to see a bit more rotation in December as well? I know there's a lot of teams have got a lot of match in December. I was having a look earlier, and some of the teams who are still in the EFL Cup and and Champions League have got something like 10 or 11 games in December. Do you think that's going to kind of have an impact on our fantasy teams?
Yeah, it's a brutal schedule. I don't think it should be too bad for the next week or two because, those teams still in the Champions League and Europa League have the luxury of being able to rotate now because they're qualified. I think you've got that pinch point now, haven't you, where we've got midweek games in a week's time. That's going to have an impact. And then it's that Boxing Day round of fixtures, game week 15, going into game week 16, where a lot of teams have only got 48 hours. That's where we're going to see the rotation.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. And many thanks for coming on again, Holly. So for our YouTube watchers, please remember to click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and to press the like button if you enjoy our content. So our feature tournament for this podcast and video is the Gameweek 11 Weekly Monster, and we'll be running through the weekend's applicable fixtures and sharing our entries with you. So watchers and listeners aware of what it is. It's very similar to the free hit chip in Fantasy Premier League, where you basically pick the best 11 players for the game week that you think will score the most points. Our YouTube watchers can now see a very festive graphic of the rules, which includes your squad must include 11 players, including at least one goalkeeper, 3 defenders, 2 midfielders, and a forward. You can select up to a maximum of 3 players from each Premier League team, which has been quite tough this week, with Manchester City in particular having that incredible fixture against Fulham, which we'll look at in a bit. We have a 105 million budget this week, so it's changed a little bit. It's generally 100 million. It was 110 last week. They settled on 105 million this week. You can make unlimited changes to your team until the first kickoff, which is 12:30 on Saturday, December the 5th. You pick a captain and a vice captain. Your captain scores double points and your vice will replace them if your captain doesn't play. There's a safety net applies, which is a brilliant feature on FanTeam, that if one of your players doesn't play for whatever reason, another player will come in automatically for them, and player prices will not change.
Yeah, that safety net really bailed me out last week because I had Sterling in my monster team and it was Mahrez who came in for him with his hat trick.
You're
So
joking,
I know,
Mahrez.
yeah. So I think I was going quite well until the final games on Sunday and Monday where I didn't have any players. So I did slip down a little bit, but I did manage. I think it was a 45 euro payout, and that safety net with Mahrez coming in was a stroke of luck that I will very happily take.
That is unbelievable luck. But a really good part of this game that even if your players don't play, you haven't wasted your money, right? And if anything, it can actually help you, like it is in your one. So awesome stuff. So for those watching again on YouTube, the point scoring matrix is on screen. As you can see, it is very, very similar to the season-long fan team game and indeed the main Fantasy Premier League game. Holly, how have you found playing fan team against your normal kind of FPL experience? Do you think it's been quite similar or different so far this season?
Well, I've got 5 entries on FanTeam, so obviously we've got a lot more flexibility. And it's funny how, just going one way different on FanTeam to FPL can have quite different results. But yeah, I'm enjoying having the FanTeam there. I feel like I make more sensible decisions on FanTeam because I'm not overthinking things, and I log in on a Friday afternoon. I've got an idea of, I've settled on my ideas of who I think is going to perform well, who's in that captaincy conversation. And I can go in and, check if anyone's injured. And it's just a case of, playing it quite casually in a way. And sometimes, less intervention can be best in FPL. And, not having that burnout and overthinking transfers and worrying about price rises all week, I think you end up with, something very good. The thing that I found most challenging, which I'm not going to have this week, is that I've got in goal in pretty much all of my entries, I've got Martinez and Meslier, and
Yeah.
I'm always getting that wrong. I think
really?
I've had, it's like I always go with who's got the easier fixture, and then Leeds United have kept 2 clean sheets in a row when probably on paper Aston Villa have got the better game. So this week it's going to be Meslier all the way because obviously Martinez hasn't got a game. So hopefully he'll bring me some clean sheet points.
Indeed, yeah. I think 9 or 10 of the players that I've got in my season-long fan team the same as FPL. There are 1 or 2 players whose position are slightly different and price is different, but I do think actually the fan team I've got them right. So I brought in Jota last week on FPL. He's classed as a midfielder, where he's classed as a forward in fan. He's playing as a forward, right? So I think I've got that right. But I think other than that, my team is pretty much the same. It's following the same sort of rank trend, in terms of where I am overall, which is doing okay. I've noticed, like you, I've taken far less hits in fan team because you tend to doing nothing a lot of the time is better, whereas in the main kind of FPL team you're so focused on on getting it right and getting all the players intend to take more hits. We haven't as much in fan team, so yeah, it's going right, but it's very much the same. And I tend to find that when I have a good week in FPL, I have a good week in fan team, and vice versa. So yeah, so there are 3 full round classic tournaments every game week on FanTeam. One has a prize pool of €10,000 with a guaranteed prize of 1,000. This is an absolute minimum, which you can enter for as little as €2. There is a high roller tournament if you want to play for big money. But our feature tournament for this podcast is the €100,000 prize pool game. So FanTeam have pulled it out of the bag again with this 100,000 guaranteed prize pool pot with a guaranteed €10,000 first prize for just a €20 entry. Prizes also go all the way down to 1,034th place, which is quite fantastic. Just a reminder to enter all FanTeam contests. You must be over 18 and be gambleaware.org. Holly, massive cash this time around. It's my first season really playing on FanTeam, and I'm just not used to seeing these kind of prizes. Have you seen anything kind of like it? In terms of all these tens of thousands of euros you can win, just such a small buy-in.
No, I mean, it can't be rivaled by anyone else in the industry at the moment. And I feel like in terms of these weekly monster entries, mine have gone a lot better the weeks it's been 100k prize pool.
Oh,
So
really? That's worked out well for you.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully I can get another one while it's these boosted pots. But it's just remarkable as well. You look at the leaderboards towards the end of the weeks, and the people right up there at the top have probably got teams that you'd never really
That's
think
right.
about entering,
You're
but
right.
have absolutely smashed it. So yeah, it's great to see.
I keep having like a really good Saturday and Sunday. I'm well in the money on like going into the Monday night games, and then I either fall away to just inside the money, or or just outside. I have a couple of really nice wins, but I think I need to focus a couple more on getting some plays those Monday night games to give me a bit of a
Yeah,
chance, because
still have hope.
you're thinking, oh my god, I'm on for €500 here. It ends up being a bit less because of the games, but maybe I need to focus a bit more on those Monday evening fixtures. So, talking of fixtures, the 9 applicable Premier League matches for this competition. So we've got Burnley and Everton, which is the 12:30 game tomorrow, followed by Manchester City and Fulham. A very exciting fixture that for this week for sure. We then got West Ham and Manchester United, Chelsea versus Leeds. Then moving on to Sunday, West Brom versus Crystal Palace, Sheffield United against Leicester, Tottenham v Arsenal, the North London derby, Liverpool versus Wolves, and then Brighton versus Southampton on the Monday evening. So, looking at these fixtures, Holly, which ones kind of stand out to you in terms of the ones you're targeting for your team?
Well, Manchester City against Fulham. I know those Manchester City players are expensive, but I think you've just got to find a way of getting 3 of them in,
Three,
because
really? Oh, blimey.
yeah, um, we've been waiting a while, haven't we, for Manchester City to gel and really, run away with their goal scoring. And I feel like now we're in that period. I'm fully backing them to deliver a repeat performance of the one that we saw against Burnley. I mean, it is a risk because Manchester City have been inconsistent this season in
Yeah.
terms of the results and the number of goals they're managing to score. But Fulham at home on paper is one of the best fixtures out there. So that's the main one that I'm targeting, and then it's kind of going to be what else I can afford around a trio of Man City players.
Yeah, we'll have a look now, but they are very expensive this week. Rightly, obviously, because it's done on odds. Just a couple of the other games. I think there's a lot of really good matchups this week, which is not obviously not that good for the tournament in terms of like obvious picks. I'm really excited to watch West Ham versus Man United. I think that could be a fabulous game of football. Same for Chelsea and Leeds, actually, because both those teams are playing really, really well. Spurs, Spurs and Arsenal. I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm pretty hopeful and confident there of a Spurs win. And as we know, Harry Kane loves going against Arsenal. So there are some really good games. I suppose looking at the ones target, it's quite tough, as you say, apart from Man City and Fulham, but maybe in those closer games, where they are a bit closer, the prices of the key players for those teams tends to be a bit lower then, because they are based on odds. So yeah, we'll have a look. So moving on to your actual entry for this week then, Holly. So we've got it up on screen now for our YouTube watchers. Are you able to run through it for our podcast listeners and share your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, from me, top heavy, same tactics, get in the big acquisitions I want in midfield and attack, and then, whatever I've got left at the defence, throw it in there. So the 3 City players have gone for a De Bruyne, Mahrez and Jesus, because none of them started in the Champions League midweek. So I'm sort of guessing on Pep rotation a little bit, even though we've got the safety net, but they're going to be the key players that are creating, providing, and hopefully scoring the goals for Man City against Fulham this weekend. I've also squeezed in a couple of other heavy hitters. So I've gone with Bruno Fernandez because his away form this season has been absolutely sensational. I don't think it will be a walkover for Manchester United by any means against West Ham, who have been very solid this season. But, we saw that 3-2 result for Manchester United last week. It kind of shows their potential and shows that they're gaining a little bit of confidence that they can come back from behind and win. And, even if Manchester United only score 1 goal, Bruno Fernandez could be on a double-digit haul. So I'm happy to back him, even though the fixture probably isn't the easiest or as easy as it appears on paper. And then the other big hitter I've gone for is Harry Kane, who you've already mentioned, purely because of his record in that North London derby. And, Spurs, top of the league at the moment, they've got to keep picking up those points against the big clubs to continue to, stay up there and be considered title contenders. I'm not sure they're in that bracket yet this season, but it's very open this season. So with everyone slipping up, dropping points left, right and centre, they could be the dark horses.
And just on that, I suppose, there isn't a better manager that they have currently got in terms of tactically going and, approaching each game in terms of getting the result they need. I watched them last week against in the Chelsea game, and I was a bit disappointed in the way they played, but actually you look at it at the end and think, well, they've got the point. They've earned a point. They have stopped their opposition getting the 3 points. They took 3 points the week before against Man City. You would expect them to take 3. I would anyway. This week against Arsenal, that would mean 7 points out of 9 against 3. Really good teams before they go off again on a nice run. Then, so I think Mourinho, as much as I've slated him in the past, being a Spurs fan for his boring football and stuff, he really seems to have got the players to understand that if they want to compete, they want to win the league, they have to approach each game in the mindset of what they want to get out of that game and not just go gung-ho, try and win, try and score more than the opposition sort of thing. So anyway, sorry, I went off on a little tangent then. Being a Spurs fan, I'm very excited for this. So.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Mourinho is a bit more aggressive in this fixture and doesn't shut up shop after 60 minutes and play for the point. But, Arsenal haven't been great anyway, so they're there for the taking. So then, it's basically how much money I had left over in terms of who I fancied for the rest of the fixtures. I've got an attacker in the Monday Night Football last game, James Ward-Prowse against Brighton. I think that's a good fixture for him. I've taken a little bit of a gamble by putting a couple of Leeds players in who are very good value. Obviously, they're not expected to prevail against Chelsea, but, Rafinha has been great since he's got himself into the team. And Dallas is just like a must-have, especially when Leeds have got a tricky fixture, to put in a monster, because he could be playing in midfield. You never know where he's going to play, out of position. The potential's there. And they've got 2 clean sheets in a row. So I know Chelsea are probably one of the most attacking sides in the Premier League right now, but you never know what you're going to get from Leeds United in terms of their performance. And then I've gone for a couple of wing-backs. Well, wing-back in terms of Koufal. Obviously, Manchester United, I'm not expecting a clean sheet, but it's more about what he could do going forward. And then I've doubled up on the Burnley defence, who probably aren't that well fancied against Everton, but it's a home game and Burnley are very solid defensively. I know they weren't against City, but that's going to have given them something to work on this week. Nick Pope should be back in the side, so why not give it a go, see what happens. If it pays off, then it's going to see me having a good week. So you've got to take a few risks somewhere to be able to afford those attacking players you want in the lineup.
Love the way how aggressive you are in the way you attack the good fixtures. You're like, right, I will just pummel the good fixtures, and then whatever's left, I'll do with the change. It's probably
it's been working for me,
exactly,
so that's why I'm sticking with it.
It's it's a really good attitude. I've got a slightly different approach. I try it and get more of a balanced team, but you've had more success than I have, so I've probably got some learnings from to do from you there. So we've got my team now on screen. So I've gone for the Fulham keeper in goals, Areola. Unsurprisingly, he's the cheapest player in the whole game this week, being away to Man City. But I'm banking on City having 12, 13 shots on target, probably scoring 3-4 of those, but him making a few saves. He is a good shot stopper. He does make really good saves. So I just think he's going to get some points. Even if it's
so when he saves a De Bruyne penalty, you can still cheer.
Exactly that. Yeah. In defence, I've gone for Furlong for West Brom. We're home to Palace, so Palace haven't looked that good in their last couple of games, and West Brom kept a clean sheet last week. Okay, albeit only against Sheffield United, but again, it's just looking for the kind of value player in there. So I think he'll do all right. I've gone for Creswell for West Ham against Man United. Man United are quite weak off defending corners and free kicks and things, I find, so probably same as you. I don't expect a clean sheet, but there is an opportunity there, I think, of an attack and return. And I've gone for quite an expensive one then. So I've gone for Reece James, Chelsea against Leeds. I thought Reece James was so unlucky to have Abraham on the end of those crosses last week, where if Giroud had been on the end of them, they'd have more than likely scored a couple of goals. And Leeds left back, it's either normally Dallas or Alioski, both like to get forward. I think they get plenty of room on that right hand side. And at 9.7, I think he's got a chance of a clean sheet, but I also think he has got a chance as well then of some attacking returns. Gone big in midfield. And up front, actually, but in midfield, I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne as captain. I can't look past him last week. I thought he was really unlucky not to get more last week. I've gone for Bruno, same as you, and same reasoning. I actually picked my team and then had the exact money left at the end for Mohamed Salah, which I don't think I've ever said before, but I did.
You're enjoying the boosted budget, aren't you?
I had 14 million left. I was like, who can I get in for 14 million? Oh, I can just get, one of the best players to ever grace the Premier League. So I managed to get Salah in there. My enabler in midfield is Neto for Wolves. I do think he's probably gonna, he's played a lot anyway. He is on some set pieces. I do think Wolves will score against Liverpool. They're playing now, in a 4-4-2, which means that they are a bit more frail at the back, but they have been scoring more goals. I think Neto, Podence, Adama, Traore. I think they're, really young, exciting.
If Silva
players.
comes in as well, I think it's quite exciting. Exactly. And the thing is with them as well, I feel like they're going to play a slightly different style now. They've not got the traditional number 9 target man, which will suit the wide players.
Completely agree. So I've got Neto and he's a bit of an enabler at 6.4, but he's been returning attacking returns fairly regularly. He is on set pieces when Moutinho's off the pitch as well. So, again, he's all right. And up front, I've gone for Harry Kane. So, we've mentioned his record against Arsenal. He hasn't done a lot in a few games, but the games they recently played don't really lend themselves to Spurs pressing. They were never going to press against Man City or Chelsea. I think they will against Arsenal. They're not going to sit back against Arsenal. They will go for it, I think. I think Kane will have a good game. I've gone for Vardy. So Leicester, he disappointed owners and captainers last week at home to Fulham, but Vardy does score the vast majority of his points away from home. They're away for Sheffield United, bottom of the league. He's on penalties. He's kind of one of those players, a bit of a stats buster, but I thoroughly expect him to get one shot and one goal, or something along those lines. And the last one then, again, a bit of a cheapie up front, but I've gone for Antonio if he's fit for West Ham against Man United. Again, he's a bit of a bully up front, I think. I don't think Man United defensively are up to match. I think he can really, give Maguire and Lindelof a really hard time. And I think there'll be a couple of goals, each side in that game. And I think Antonio looks really good value this week, playing at home, 7.8 million. So as I say, my team is probably a bit more rounded than yours, but yours has definitely got the more upside, because if Man City put 5 or 6 past Fulham, which is, kind of an expected result, I suppose, then Jesus, Mahrez and De Bruyne will definitely be, in the goals there. So were there any other players who didn't quite make the cut there, Holly, for you?
Well, now I'm looking at your team and I'm thinking those Wolves and West Ham attackers are very good value, because obviously they're not the favourites, but they're playing in sides that I'm expecting to score against, a struggling Liverpool defence and a struggling Man United defence. So maybe balance is key. I might have to go have another look at my entries, but yeah, I'm liking the look of some of your picks there.
Well, I'm liking the look of your double Man City, so I may have to look one more time.
I might just have to do another entry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll do two.
Just copy each other's entries, isn't it? Yeah. So hopefully that has helped our watchers and listeners look forward to the weekend's games and maybe give a few ideas. I think I'm definitely going to enter a couple, Holly, because I like the look of yours as well as mine, so I'm going to do that. But for all our watching listeners, please feel free to take any inspiration or any ideas away, and best of luck to everyone for the week. So that is it for us this week. All the links are below for the games we have discussed today. Thank you so much, Holly, for joining me this week again. Let's hope Man City put 5 or 6 past Fulham, and you finish in the money again. Remember that
maybe even 8 or 9.
Maybe even 8 or 9 would be even better. If you're being greedy, you are being greedy now. Remember that if you liked what you watched, please press the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And if you are listening on a podcast, please rate the podcast and leave a comment. It will be available as a video on the FanTeam YouTube channel, where you can see all our teams in their full glory. It'll also be available as an audio podcast on all major podcast libraries, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Just search for Official FanTeam Podcasts from wherever you get your podcasts. Our website is fanteam.com, and our Twitter handles are at FanTeamOfficial and at FanTeam_UK. Give us a follow for regular game updates and for entry giveaways for lots of other FanTeam competitions. We will be back next week, looking ahead to the Game Week 12 Weekly Monster. The very best of luck for this weekend. Goodbye for now.